morning and welcome to another edition of Copyright Connect, your weekly program on copyright awareness, creativity, and innovation, proudly brought to you by the Nigeria Copyright Commission, NCC. And whether you're listening from your home, your office, your vehicle, your shop, your studio, or your workplace, thank you for joining us. Today's topic is particularly very important for every creator, whether you're an established professional or just starting your creative journey. What exactly are we talking about that is so interesting and very, very relevant to all of us today? It is copyright registration and documentation. Create it, document it, and register it. Many Nigerians ask if copyright belongs to me. Once I create my work, why should I register it? Others ask, if I have not registered my work, does it mean I don't have copyright? And perhaps the most important question, what exactly does copyright registration do for me? Okay, all these questions, if the first is yours or the second, meaning if copyright belongs to me, once I create my work, why should I register it? Or you're saying, if I have registered my work, does it mean I don't have copyright? If I haven't registered my work, what exactly does registration do for me? You stay with us today because by the end of today's program, you will understand the difference between having copyright, documenting your creative work and registering it with the Nigeria Copyright Commission. I'll be back. Last week on Copyright Connect, we discussed copyright infringement, what it means, and how unauthorized use of another person's protected work may amount to infringement. We also learned that copyright infringement is not limited to piracy of movies, of books, or of music. Unauthorized reproduction, unauthorized distribution, unauthorized communication to the public, making protected works available online, and other acts reserved for copyright owners may constitute infringement where no statutory exceptions apply. Those are the things we learned last week. We also learned an important lesson, and which is the fact that a work is available online does not automatically make it free to use by anyone. So today, we take a step further. How can creators properly document, register their creative work? Big question. How can I or you as a creator document and register your work with the Nigeria Copyright Commission? A quick relatable story. I'll tell you about Adaji. Adaji is a software developer. For almost a year, he worked on an application designed to help small businesses manage their inventory, sales, and customer records. He wrote the codes, designed the interface, tested the application, and kept improving it based on users' feedback. He called the software StockEase. Eventually, Adaji began demonstrating StockEase to potential clients. One interested company requested access to the software to test some of its features. Adaji provided the access. Months later, he was shocked when he saw another company advertising a software application that looked remarkably similar to StockEase. Different name, different colors, different logos, but several elements appeared strikingly familiar. He became concerned. Fortunately, he had kept his development records. He had earlier versions of his source code, dated files, emails, invoices, and correspondence showing how the software had developed. He had also registered the work with the Nigeria Copyright Commission. Now came the important question. Did registration create Adagi's copyright? No. But registration provided an official record of the work and particulars entered in the register, and importantly, registration gives rise to statutory presumptions under Section 43 of the Copyright Act in an infringement action. And that distinction is very important. Now, let me introduce today's topic. The Copyright Act 2022 makes an important distinction between copyright protection does not depend on registration. That is very key. The Copyright Act 2022 makes an important distinction, and it is that copyright protection does not depend on registration. In other words, registration is not what creates copyright. Copyright protection arises when the requirement for protection under the Act is satisfied. However, the Act establishes a register of works maintained by the NCC, the Nigeria Copyright Commission. Also, under Section 87, a person may apply to register an eligible work. The Act expressly states that registration does not confer copyright. However, the register is, at first instance, evidence of the work and the particulars entered in it. In addition, Section 43 provides specific presumptions in infringement proceedings where the work has been registered under Section 87. So today's message is simple. Copyright exists without registration, but responsible creators should document their work and consider registration as part of good copyright management. Who should be paying attention to this? Today's discussion is important for writers and authors, for musicians and songwriters, filmmakers, photographers, software developers, graphic designers, architects, digital content creators, researchers, publishers, businesses, and anyone creating original copyright protected works. When we come back after this break, we'll be introducing our guest on the program this morning. Please don't go away. All right, joining us today is our copyright expert. He is Deputy Director and Head Regulatory and Compliance Department at the Nigerian Copyright Commission, NCC. Welcome to the program, Kunle Olatunji. You're welcome to the program. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to help Nigerians better understand copyright.
Thank you so much. Let's start with the basic question. What exactly is copyright registration?
Well, copyright registration is the process through which an eligible work is entered into the register of works maintained by the Nigerian Copyright Commission. In addition to this, Section 87 of the Act provides for this. But it is important, however, to emphasize that registration itself does not create copyright. Copyright protection does not, with emphasis I repeat, depend on registration.
All right. It's like I'm putting myself in the position of a creator now who is saying that because I have registered, so that does not mean I have copyright. Is that what you're saying? If registration does not, okay. If registration does not create copyright, why should creators register their work?
Okay. Well, first and foremost, registration has important evidentiary value. The Copyright Act provides that the register is, at first instance, evidence of the work.
Yes. Oh, we lost the call from Kunle Olatunji. Please join us again on the program as the program is getting okay. Are you still there? Our guest on the program this morning is Deputy Director and Head of Regulatory and Compliance Department at the Nigeria Copyright Commission, that is Kunle Olatunji. Once we have a clear signal, we will definitely connect with him. We were asking, he said registration itself does not mean copyright. So if registration does not mean copyright, why should creators register their work? That is at the point of the disconnection on the line. Tunji, Kunle Olatunji, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, we can hear you. Please continue. You are making a very valid point.
Yes, let me go over it again.
Please do.
Registration itself, the process has an important evidentiary value, in the sense that the Act provides that the register is, that is, the register, the copyright register, evidence of the work and the particulars entered in it. In addition to this, Section 43 provides certain presumptions in an action for infringement where the work has been registered. This includes 1, the presumption relating to the subsistence of copyright. That is, that there is copyright in the work. And 2, of course, it also establishes the identity of the author, publisher, or producer as stated on the work.
Okay.
However, this is subject to the conditions provided under the Act. Therefore, registration can be a valuable part of a creator's copyright management strategy.
Okay. Registration can be valuable part of a creator's management strategy. That is very key. Correct. So if you are listening this morning, our guest, Mr. Kunle Olatunji, said that registration is not copyright, but registration is a very valuable part of the creator's management strategy. Let's go back to Adaji. Mr. Kunle, are you still there? We lost him again, but we'll try and bring him back. We'll go back to Adaji. Adaji's story. Very interesting story at that. While we're waiting for Mr. Kunle Olatunji, the Deputy Director and Head Regulatory and Compliance Department at the Nigeria Copyright Commission, we will go over to Adaji's story again. Adaji's story says, Adaji is a software developer, and for almost a year, he had worked on an application designed to help small businesses manage their inventory, sales, and customer records. He wrote the codes, he designed the interface, tested the application, and kept improving. So one day, some people approached him. An interested company requested access to the software to test some of its features, and Adaji provided the access. Months later, he was shocked when he saw another company advertising a software application that looked remarkably like what he had done. He called his own StockEase, but with a different name, with a different logo, with different colors. Fortunately for Adaji, he had kept his development records. He had earlier versions of his source codes, dated files, emails, invoices, and correspondence. Is Kunle Olatunji still there? No. We are trying to get connected to the Deputy Director and Head of Regulatory and Compliance Department at the NCC. As soon as he joins us, he will be able to answer some of the questions. Don't forget, the Copyright Act 2022 makes an important distinction. Copyright protection does not depend on registration. That's what Kunle Olatunji has been trying to explain to us. In other words, registration is not what creates copyright. Copyright protection arises when the requirement for protection under the Act is satisfied. However, the Act also establishes a register of works. Is it there? Not yet. Maintained by the Nigeria Copyright Commission. Under Section 87, a person may apply to register an eligible work. The Act expressly states that registration does not confer copyright. They are not the same. However, if you are a writer, you are an author, you are a musician, you are a songwriter, you are a filmmaker, you are a photographer, software developer, graphic designer, architect, digital content creator, researchers, publishers, and businesses, anyone creating original copyright protected works, this message today is for you. Okay, moving on to Mr. Kunle Olatunji now. We apologize for the network. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
All right,
Yes,
please. We were saying that let's go back to Adaji. Remember that the story we now narrated. Suppose Adaji had not registered stock is, but kept his source code, versions, emails, invoices, and developmental records. Would those records still matter?
Absolutely. Of course, good documentation can be very important. Creators should maintain records that help establish the identity, development, and history of their works. This may include dated drafts, earlier versions, correspondence, agreements, invoices, delivery records, and other relevant documents. It is important to know that registration and good documentation can therefore work together in the interest of the author or the right owner.
All right. Thank you so much. Registration and documentation can therefore work together. So creators should not wait until a dispute arises before searching for evidence.
Exactly. Well, by the time a dispute arises, naturally, people will often start asking, where is the original draft? When did you create it? Who worked on it? What agreement did you have? That is why creators should develop the habit of documenting their creative process from the beginning, because this creates a kind of chain of title that would help you in evidence just in case there's an infringement.
Okay. That's why creators and developers should cultivate that habit of documenting their creative works from the beginning. I really like that. So I'm re-emphasizing the very important words, the very important points our guest on the program is made, so that we'll reiterate it and we'll remember as creators. That brings us to an important practical question. What exactly should creators document? Tell us. I'm a writer, I'm an author, I'm a content creator. What are the things I need to document?
Oh, thank you. First and foremost, creators are advised to keep records that can help establish the identity, developmental steps, and ownership history of their works. And I'll give examples, although they will just be itemized. Dated drafts and versions of the work, development records, emails and relevant correspondence, agreements with collaborators or partners, contracts with clients, invoices and payment records, records showing when and how the work was created or delivered, and of course, registration records where the work has been registered. Then, in a situation where several people are involved in creating a work, it is good to outline what each person's rights are, and of course, what is the ownership structure. All this should be clearly documented and the roles of each party well defined.
Well ahead of time, because you never know, dispute may arise. That's a very important point.
Yeah.
Put important copyright arrangements in writing. Please help us. Hello, are you still there?
I'm here with you. Yes,
All right.
I am.
Now, I'm still going to go back to that our Adaji story. Suppose he hired another developer to help improve that his software stock is. Who will own the copyright?
Well, that depends on the circumstances, the applicable law, and of course, any agreement between the parties. For instance, under Section 28, copyright initially vests in the author, subject to the provisions of the Act and any applicable agreement they have between them. And that is why creators, employers, consultants, developers, designers, and other collaborators should clearly establish what rights and obligations belong to who. It is not advisable that parties should rely on assumptions.
Put every important copyright arrangement in writing. All right. What about assignment and licensing? Now, suppose Adaji wants another company to use Talkies, but does not want to transfer ownership. What would he do?
Oh, in this context, the most appropriate vehicle would be for him to license. So a licensing strategy may be appropriate. What a license does is to allow another person to exercise specified rights under agreed terms without necessarily transferring ownership. On the other hand, where it is an assignment, the assignment transfers copyright or specified rights to the other party. Under Section 30 of the Copyright Act, an assignment or exclusive license to do an act controlled by copyright has no effect unless it is in writing. And I say this with every emphasis. It must be in writing.
In writing.
So long as it is an assignment or an exclusive license. So creators generally are advised to carefully read and understand agreements before transferring or licensing valuable rights.
Okay.
And be sure that, yes, their interest has been well captured and what they are signing is actually what they have in mind.
Meaning, do not sign away valuable copyright rights without understanding exactly what you are giving away. Is that what it means?
Exactly. Know what you own, know who you are granting what right, know for how long, that is the duration, know where it applies, and where appropriate, it is advisable to seek professional advice before executing any agreement or contract.
Now, let me ask you this question. Can you walk us through this process? If I'm a musician in Ibadan, for instance, and I finish a new album today, what are the steps, the exact steps I need to take to register with the NCC?
Okay. Well, first and foremost is to go to the what we have is the Nigerian e-copyright registration system. There is a portal dedicated strictly to that system. And what you do first and foremost is to create an account on that portal. Once that account, you also have to take steps to ensure that that account is activated, because without being activated, you cannot do anything. And once it's activated, you just put in your details. Of course, they are your personal details. There are things you can just count of your fingers. And of course, you must have a digital copy of the work you want to register very ready by your side, because you have to upload it. And of course, the payment system, which is on the revenue optimization, which the federal government uses now.
Yeah.
You will go to the platform, make the payment, which is 10,000 naira. And of course, once you have gotten everything in place, you submit. And within a period of 10 working days maximum, if there are no issues, if no queries are raised, a certificate is issued to that effect. And let me mention something. When it is a transfer, if it's a transfer you are registering,
Okay.
the registrant must upload evidence of rights transfer. If you are saying I am Mr. B and this work has been transferred to me by Mr. A, so I want to register that transfer, we must see a document evidencing that Mr. A has actually transferred that right to you.
Okay. Now,
sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Because under the Act, if we discover that, first and foremost, let me make this very clear. The entire registration process on its own is like you are deposing to an affidavit.
All right.
So basically, if you now give false information and it is eventually discovered, then it means the commission might have a cause of action against
you,
in addition to other
charges.
Yes.
Let me quickly ask this question again. What are the documents and materials does an applicant need to submit? For instance, I said I'm a musician and I want to register my work. I just left the studio. I'm just leaving the studio with a very new and original work. What does the NCC need? You know, the originals of a CD, PDF, videos, or ID card. What are those materials I need to take along when going for registration?
Well, let me clear this very quickly. I'm happy you asked this question.
Thank you.
You don't need to go to any of our offices.
Okay.
Except in very exceptional cases, because everything is online.
Okay. Convenient.
You don't have, yes. You can do it from your bedroom, inside the aircraft, wherever you are. So that was why I said you should get a digital copy of your work ready.
Okay. That you can easily upload.
Yes, you can upload.
All right.
And of course, the certificate we are going to issue to is a digital certificate. You are not coming to the office to pick it. Yes. Once it is your application is approved, your certificate automatically goes into your account on the portal.
So wherever you are, you can download it, print it out if you want, save it on your system if you want.
Essentially, you can access the certificate at any
from
time.
Anywhere.
Yes.
Now, you said something that it has to be if it is transfer. So it's possible for somebody coming to register a work with the NCC to bring a fake work or to steal another person's work to register? Is it possible?
Yes, we've recorded some unfortunate instances. Of course, you know human nature. You never can
you can tell
human activities, yes. But where we have any reason to suspect or it is brought to the notice of the commission, of course, the commission is duty bound to take appropriate action.
Okay.
To ensure that the rightful owner is not robbed of what
rightfully belongs to him.
Yes.
Can someone register on behalf of another person?
Yes, why not? With the right information, yes, you can. Assuming, let's have let's say you have our brother Cobhams Bassey.
Yeah.
We know he's visually impaired.
Yes.
But we thank God for the double gift God has given him.
Yes.
Cobhams might not be able to register.
By himself.
By himself.
Okay. His wife.
Yes, to
do that on his behalf.
And he might just, I have a lawyer. My lawyer, take this information and do this on my behalf. It's allowed. so long as the information is genuine.
Okay. Now,
That's
in
what-
fact, I was going to ask, can a manager register on behalf of an artist or a client?
Yes, you don't even have to be a manager. You could be anybody. But what matters most is that that registration must be done in good faith
Okay.
and due authorization.
Okay. And then you are giving out the correct information. You won't
Yeah.
you won't say because I'm registering for Floriana, I will put in my details instead of Floriana's details. All right.
That's correct. That's
All
correct.
right. But in such a situation, what can the NCC do that somebody registering for another person use the opportunity to dupe the other person? Have you seen any of such cases? And what can somebody do in that instance?
The commission experiences that once in a while.
Okay.
But we have put strategies in place such that when we get to know, definitely we will take administrative action to ensure that the right of the rightful owner is duly preserved.
All right.
And one of those actions will be to invalidate the certificate issued.
Going to that certificate, does that you said it once, if I register today, within 10 days, 10 working days, the certificate will be issued?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Assuming there are no
anomalies, that you've
Yes,
done your background check, there's nothing that backfires on my registration.
Well, we don't really do background checks. We work basically on what you submit.
Okay.
Number one, what you submitted, is it protected by copyright? Does it fall into any of the classes of copyright? Yes. Then we now look at it, because at times you might see, on the application this thing is a Mr. A that is said to be the author of the work, and you look at the work, you see that
Is Mr. B
there. So definitely that will be a reason to query it.
So a certificate will not be issued.
It will not even be further processed.
Processed.
You have complied with the query.
All right. Moving on to the certificate now. What legal advantage does NCC registration certificate give a creator if there is a dispute or a court case?
First and foremost, it gives you the advantage of the presumptions provided for in section 43 of the Act.
Okay.
And that means that, yes, on the face of it, you are the owner of that work. And of course, two, one of the advantages it confers on you as an holder is, assuming you are going for an international, maybe licensing or franchise transaction. You cannot go out of Nigeria and say, understand, I'm the owner. Is it not me that is bringing this to you? No.
Okay.
It strengthens your case in the situation whereby you are
There's
able
a dispute
to provide
arise.
documentation. No, not necessarily.
Dispute.
We are now even talking about a straight business transaction.
Okay.
You have a software now. Let's use Adagi's example.
Okay.
Let's say Walmart wants to now take a franchise of his software. And he goes and says, see all my drawings, see my code. See, the white man would not listen to you that way. But when you are bringing a documentation from a government,
a federal government certified organization,
yes,
it gives it credibility.
Okay. And it also shows that you, in the first place, you have put in place a good copyright management strategy in respect of your creative efforts.
Okay, if you are just joining us, the program is Copyright Connect on Oxygen FM 96.9. Our guest on the program today is Deputy Director, Head Regulatory and Compliance Department, the Nigeria Copyright Commission. Mr. Kunle Olatunji is giving us answers to so many questions that are on the minds of our listeners today. Some of the questions I've been asking actually came from people listening. They've been contributing their questions to the program. And then before we go, I'll come back for like 2 more questions to Mr. Olatunji. But let me quickly say this. copyright myth and versus the fact. The myth says, if I don't register my work, I don't have copyright. That is not true. The fact says, copyright protection does not depend on registration. Registration does not create copyright. However, registration under Section 87 creates an official record and registered work benefit from the statutory presumptions provided under Section 43 in infringement proceedings. So remember, registration does not create copyright. It helps create an official record and provide important evidentiary benefit under the law. Going back to my previous question, Kunle Olatunji, my guest on the program, the Deputy Director and Head Regulatory and Compliance Department at the Nigeria Copyright Commission, you already gave us the very important place the certificates takes. But the other part about the legal case, about a court case, how does the certificate play out? What is the advantage when in case of dispute and it becomes a court case?
Okay. The strong point when you hold that certificate is that, let me just give you this analogy. You know, assuming you lost a document, the first place you think of to run to is a police station.
Yes.
You write your statement, and of course, you are entitled to a police extract.
Report, yes.
They call it report, but it's technically speaking, it's an extract.
Okay, thank you for that.
That certificate is basically our own extract.
Okay.
And once it is certified, when you get to court, you don't need to break a sweat. It is without further proof. Once you present that, the court admits it and looks at you as the owner.
The rightful owner.
Yes. Instead of running from pillar to post, trying to gather evidence, the government stands behind you.
So the certificate goes a long way. All right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Our guest for today, Kunle Olatunji, is the Deputy Director and Head Regulatory and Compliance Department, Nigeria Copyright Commission. Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of another enlightening edition of Copyright Connect for today. Mr. Olatunji, please, your last word for creators, for content creators, for publishers, for musicians on the program today. What should they do? What should every creator in Nigeria do?
Well, my advice would be, know your rights, define the boundaries, evolve protection strategies, and don't joke with documentation. And a corollary to that will be that be vigilant. Do not sign what you don't know, because copyright is so extensive that it is a property. Even though you don't see it as a property, you can leave as a legacy for your children and children's children. I can give you the example of Fela today. Fela has so much in terms of creative efforts. From time to time, the children just go to that well and fetch a little, and it is bringing them so much. Even with Fela in his grave, he still runs an ATM machine for his children and children's children. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kunle Olatunji, the Deputy Director and Head Regulatory and Compliance Department, Nigeria Copyright Commission, on Copyright Connect this morning on Oxygen FM 96.9. So you heard it. If you are a creator, please endeavor. You heard the example of Fela. He has dug a well of funds which the children and the children's children are still drawing from. So that may be your case too. And that brings us to the end of another beautiful session on Copyright Connect today. We learned an important lesson. Creating the work is only a part of a journey. Good copyright management also means documenting your work, understanding your rights, and taking appropriate steps to protect your interests. So, if you have created an eligible copyright work, don't leave its history and ownership to chance. Create it, document it, register it. Until next week, my name is Tolu Adikboju. Respect creativity, respect copyright, and always remember, if it's worth creating, it's worth protecting. Copyright Connect, promoting creativity and protecting creativity. Building Nigeria's creative future. Proudly brought to you by the Nigeria Copyright Commission and Oxygen FM 96.9. Bye for now.